Well, guys, let's get it started. Sorry, I got to put the screen projector on. Oh no, it's going to do this again too. So anyway, I have a few of the PowerPoint presentations. I don't have all of them. And I want to show you some of these, the ones that I have first. And at that point, we'll talk about finishing this up. And so, source menu. Make sure PC is turned on. Of course it's turned on. Oh man, these math guys, they mess up the furniture and they mess up the computer too. You guys at home hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, there we go. We got the screen up. We're good. So here we go. You're first, Kaylee. It's just by random. And I want you guys to notice that Kaylee put this on YouTube, which is a good option.
I have a hard time converting it. So if I use iMovie, it didn't convert into the American OneDrive. So
Right, yeah.
So I put it on YouTube.
That's kind of that's the kind of stuff I want to talk about after we see these. Yeah, and this is like so crazy because this OneDrive and throwing things into OneDrive, that's kind of a newer thing that Maryville started to do, but it doesn't really meet all of our needs at all. And so, and I'm finding out because you guys have trouble. So anyway, let's take a look at the first PowerPoint narrated presentation. And let's see. How did that go? Browse YouTube. Yeah, that's where we're going.
Hi, my name is Kaylee and my presentation.
Okay, I gotta bring this up to scale. And here and there. Kaylee doing Moses by Michelangelo.
Hi, my name is Kaylee and my presentation will be about the statue of Moses by Michelangelo.
Nice transition. That was pretty cool.
Statue of Moses by Michelangelo because of the beautiful detail that he put into it. He actually had to scale down his original artwork plans, but even though he did that, this piece still came out beautifully. I also chose the statue because of the miscommunication that was represented in Michelangelo's creating the sculpture. Moses has two horns to put it on top of his head, and even though they aren't supposed to be there, nobody ever changed anything about it, which I found very interesting because the piece is still beautiful. I had found some images of Moses that I thought captured the real art that Michelangelo was trying to display in his statue.
No, we're fine. It's all good.
Cultural context of the piece. The time period that this art was made was from 1513 to 1515, and it was part of a large display of statues. The statue was created in San Pietro in Banquet, Rome. The purpose of the statue was a commission piece for Pope Julius II for his tomb. The power of the statue is that it's depicting the most powerful point of Moses' life. The belief system of the sculpture is based off of the book Moses. The sculpture depicted the Old Testament prophet seated with the tablet of law under one arm and his hands gathering his beard in recovery. Also below, I included a few more pictures of the statue of Moses that I think captured more detail than my earlier ones. They closely examine the face, the arm, and the other statues surrounding Moses. Of Italy, where the statue is located in Rome, facing the Tyrrhenian Sea. Michelangelo was born in Capri, Italy. Michelangelo was a painter, sculptor, architect, and poet, widely considered the most brilliant artist in Italian Renaissance. Notable works that Michelangelo worked on was the Sistine Chapel, the creation of Adam, the Pieta, and David. A formal analysis of this artwork. The form of the artwork is a sculpture. The medium used was marble. The size is about 8.5 feet high. The lines used throughout the artwork were soft but contoured, and you can see this depicted by Michelangelo in Moses' beard or his robe. The texture throughout the sculpture that Michelangelo created was soft. The color throughout the artwork was natural marble. You can see hints of grays, whites, and even beiges. Iconographic elements throughout the sculpture involve Moses from the Bible. Some distinctive features and characteristics detailed in the sculpture involve Moses' beard and his robe. As you can see, Moses' beard does have curls with a lot of detail, and also his robe have folds in a natural way. While the statue does stand quite tall in size at about 8.5 feet tall, Michelangelo did make the statue seem like it was placed in a naturalistic way. While the rest of the statues and structures are quite large, Moses is pictured seeming like a normal-sized man. Throughout the sculpture, you can see that there is a lot of movement amongst Moses. Moses is full of tension and energy, as you can see him sitting but almost about to stand up. I included a picture of his foot because I felt that that showed a little bit of the tension and energy of Moses about to stand up. What makes this artwork a legacy? The miscommunication of translation makes this statue a legacy. As quoted from Moses' marble sculpture, you might marvel at Moses' horns. This comes from a mistranslation of Hebrew word that describes Moses as having rays of light coming from his head. Now, I think that this applies to being a legacy for this artwork because even though that miscommunication did happen, nothing actually damaged the piece of art, and it's still beautiful in its own way and detail. Another reason why this statue is a legacy, in my opinion, is Michelangelo's need to complete this tomb. While he was making the statue for the tomb, he was asked by Julius II to stop and paint the Sistine Chapel. As quoted from the marble Moses, in Michelangelo's dynamic figure of Moses, we have a clear sense of the prophet and his duty to fulfill God's wishes. Moses is not a passive figure, but from a distant biblical past, but a living, breathing, present figure that reflects on the will and might of God. I feel that Michelangelo and Moses could relate to one another, wanting to fulfill some prophet for another person. As Michelangelo wanted to complete the tomb for the Pope, and Moses wanted to fulfill God's wishes.
Good bibliography. And I was hoping to get an end show. It'll end, but thank you. That was a very good job. And there. And I get to go here. And where's my there. And I gotta make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, we're good. So what did you think?
It was well put together.
I thought it was too. I wanted to add a couple of things, and I'm glad you talked about the horns, because that's been really kind of one of the big issues about this piece over time, and you described it perfectly. It was a mistranslation. And you talked about his beard, and that is really very important too. And there's a kind of it's almost like an equation, a math equation, if you will, and that is that when artists of the time, and for 1,000, 1,500 years before that, they wanted to make a man seem wise, they would give him a beard. And if he was young and not particularly that wise, gave him a clean shaven face. And the beard on Moses is like extraordinarily long, which would indicate that by that metric, he's one of the wisest figures in the Bible. And I think you'd find a lot of support about that. And you talked about the detail, and I like that too. One of the things I like about Michelangelo's sculptures is that often you can see the veins popping through the skin. And, you know, if you're like me, you've got a few of them here. And that's incredibly detailed and incredibly difficult. And it only adds to the perception that this is lifelike. It's lifelike and naturalistic in a way that's extraordinary. That was a good reason to pick that. And I think with that, Kayla, you mentioned the medium, and it's marble, but it's not that pristine white marble. It's actually, it's got what we would call veins in it. It's and a lot of sculptors would shy away from such marble. Now you'll see, if you know Michelangelo, you see his marble David, it's white, it's pristine, it's at high quality. This is colored marble, and marble comes in all kinds of colors. It comes rose marble and green and brown and stuff. Anyway, one of the things about using marble of a color is that it does have the potential to distract from seeing this as a live person. Because it's just another level of busy information that's on the surface. It changes colors, it does all this other stuff. But the way that this was sculpted with all of that detail that Kaylee described, it still appears extremely lifelike, even though there's all of that other activity in the material itself. So, that's all. Good job. And so let me see. I got Reagan's Eiffel Tower, control, click. Oh, boy. Now what do I do, Jay? And see, there's another thing too, it's really kind of difficult. They here move from Windows to Google without any, it's kind of seamless, but it's going to let me. And so let's take a look at Reagan's Eiffel Tower. And so,
Hi, this is Reagan Smith, and today we are going to be talking about the Eiffel Tower.
and I'm trying to find a screen that will give me the entire screen, and I don't see it. What?
I think it's what your mouse is on.
Okay, there it is.
Hi, this is Reagan Smith, and today we are going to be talking about the Eiffel Tower. The plan for the tower was to build a tower that was 300 meters high. They wanted to study the possibility of erecting an iron tower on the Champ de Mars with a square space 125 meters across and 300 meters tall. The assembly of the supports began on July 1st, 1887, and was completed 22 months later. All the metal pieces of the tower are held together by rivets. The first pieces were assembled in the factory using bolts. The tower was assembled using wooden scaffolding and small steam cranes, but mounted onto the tower. It took only 5 months to build the foundations and 21 to finish assembling the metal pieces of the tower. The assembly of the tower was a marvel of precision. In all, there are 18,038 metallic parts, 2,500,000 rivets, 7,300 tons of iron, 60 tons of paint, and 150 to 300 workers in the construction site. The Eiffel Tower was created to be the main attraction at the World's Fair in 1889. The focus for that World's Fair was vast constructions in iron and steel that were the great industrial advancements of the time. After the World's Fair, it was planned for the tower to be torn down. They changed their mind gladly, and now the tower is a symbol of love and beauty in the heart of the city. It is also a huge feature that people can come and enjoy. Alexandre Gustave Eiffel was born on December 15, 1832 in Dijon, France. He passed away on December 20.
Oh, my bad. I'm trying to get this to,
Next, we're going to talk
down.
about
I'm
the
sorry.
city that the Eiffel Tower was built in.
it's too
Paris,
loud
France
for
is
us.
located on the north central side of the country. It is a modern city that is spread all the way from
And
the island and far past both.
My
coasts of the city.
apologies.
Alexandre Gustave Eiffel was born on December 15, 1832 in Dijon, France. He passed away.
Oh, man.
So the Eiffel Tower was
Previous,
made
there
during
we
the Impressionism, Post-Impressionism time period. Alexandre Gustave Eiffel was born on December 15, 1832 in Dijon, France. He passed away on December 28, 1923 in Paris, France. He was a French civil engineer that specialized in metal construction and is renowned for the tower in Paris named after him. The construction of Eiffel Tower gave him the nickname Magician of Iron and helped Eiffel find his interest in aerodynamics, using the tower for multiple of his own experiences. Eiffel was one of the first engineers to use compressed air occasions in bridges building designs. So the Eiffel Tower was made during the Impressionism, Post-Impressionism time period. The term Impressionism is used to describe a group of painters living in Paris who worked between 1860 and 1900. Impressionists rejected the state of control artists were under and favored being more independent with their art. They focused on more contemporary art, including landscape scenes as well as modern life. They did this instead of drawing on with past historical art. Impressionists paid most of their attention on the effects of light, atmosphere, and movement. Post-impressionism is a term used to describe the reactions against impressionism. Post-impressionism rejected the concerns with being spontaneous in the use of natural light and color. They also favored more symbolic content and structure. They also believed that color should be an independent form. Next, we're going to talk about the city that the Eiffel Tower was built in. Paris, France is located on the north central side of the country. It is a modern city that is spread all the way from the island and far past both banks of the Seine. This city is one of the most attractive cities in the world, as well as has the country's most important center of commerce and culture. The city's area is 41 square miles, and the metropolitan area is 890 square miles. King Edward of England was in rule when the Eiffel Tower was built. He was born November 9, 1841, and became Prince of Wales a month later on December 8, 1941. He was the eldest son of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. He was 59 years old when he became king on January 22, 1901. He died on May 6, 1910, at the age of 68. Two notable people that helped create the Eiffel Tower are Emile Nogier and Maurice Kochler. Emile was an engineer in charge of the technical studies and assembly department. He helped create the draft that was presented to the government. He also followed through to the execution of the tower and directed the assembly in the process. He was granted the Knight's Cross and Legion of Honor Award. Maurice Kochler is known for drawing the first sketch of the Eiffel Tower, remaining to be its true first creator. He worked alongside Eiffel in the building process, and they became great friends along the way. Here is my work summary. Thank you. Alexandre Gustave Eiffel was born on this.
There we go. So, what do you guys think? I gotta make sure I got the right share going on here. Yeah, we're good.
I thought it was a good presentation. It definitely went over some things that I never knew about the Eiffel Tower or its creator.
Yeah,
I was shocked
Okay.
that we only had 150 to 300 workers. Doesn't sound like a lot to me.
I agree with
For
that.
something that
That's,
big.
that was a good pickup. Yes, absolutely. Reagan, are you with us today? No. Okay, well, yeah, I agree with all of that. And there was something that she said was kind of, part of a ancillary sort of point, but she talked about post-impressionists talked about color as its own form. And that's true. That's a true statement. And that kind of hits at one of the main differences between what happened before Impressionism and after Impressionism. And that is what leads to a lot of this totally abstract art, that if color itself can be the form, can be the subject of a painting, you can put it in geometric squares and shapes and blocks of color and different kinds of things, because having a subject based on observation of the world around us. Haley, in your quiz 5, were you the one that talked about artists working inwardly? Somebody did. Anyway, I looked at those quiz 5s, and that's really what I'm talking about with that. So let me see what I got here. I think I can't get to this. I think this is. Yes, I don't have access to this. And so, sorry. And this is why I want to go through these. If you put something on Google Drive, you gotta let me access this. And so I sent this request a couple of times already. And so I'll have to check my mail when that code comes in that says I can get this file. But in the meantime, Google Drive, and as I said a moment ago, we switched from Microsoft to Google and a lot of different things. It's whatever you can do to get it to me. And I apologize for the email. The instructions that I gave you, I thought the Maryville email address would support large files.
It does.
It does not, yes. It used to. I think they needed the space on the server for all a bunch of other stuff. That's just a guess. I don't know. It's the IT is, they're trying to keep up. I think this is, in their defense, this is a result of the pandemic. And then at the drop of a hat, we had to go to all online, and we had to build up the digital infrastructure, and they're still having to make adjustments. And so anyway, good ways to send your PowerPoint. Google Drive, good, just let me in. Or you can do as Kaylee did and put it on YouTube and give me the YouTube address. Now, Kaylee, do you have a YouTube account?
Yeah, I just uploaded it to my account.
Yeah,
If you are gonna do it, it may take a really long time. It took me about 5 hours for it to work.
I know. Yeah, see, I put all of these classes as I'm recording this one as we speak. I'll get a message from Zoom saying I got a recording. I put that recording on YouTube, but that's why, because you're exactly right. Sometimes it takes forever. And I got these files that are 1 hour and 15 minutes sometimes. So, yeah. And so anyway, thanks for bringing that up, Kaylee. It takes a long time.
I did the OneDrive first, and that took 3 hours, and then it was just like failed. So I was like, I'll try something.
Yeah. And I got another one today too that tried to get it to me on OneDrive and it didn't work. And so I hope you guys at home are really taking note about this. I have one final presentation, and this is it. This is from Natalie. And I got this a whole different way. It came in on my email, but it's in the form of a PDF, which must have made it much smaller. And so just guessing, thank you guys for staying with us and helping me and figure this out. This is where I really need you guys to be creative on top of all of the other things that we've just been talking about. There's another consideration, and that is, what do you have on your computer? What kind of software do you have? And as we just talked, Kaylee was talking about having a YouTube account. You have to create a YouTube account. It's well worth it. You'll find that even though it's slow, and again, because everybody's using it, it's a really good place to store stuff. And with YouTube, and you're gonna run into a couple of questions. One is that it'll ask you if your video was made for kids. Put no.
I put no.
Yeah.
And 18.
Exactly, because once you have it for kids, that opens up a whole can of worms, and you just want it. No, it is not made for kids. And then at the end, it'll ask you how you want to publish it. Click public. And then anybody else can get to it. If you do private or any of the other options, it's not, nobody will be able to take a look at it. And I won't be able to retrieve it.
Oh, if we're choosing to send it to you through Google Drive to your Gmail, it's still okay to like send it as an MP4.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Google, that's a nice thing about Google. It's got, apparently got all the space you can use on there. So MP4, that's going to be really big, but Google can handle it. And that's really kind of the million-dollar question under all of this. How do you deal with big files? And so this is Natalie's presentation. I have not taken a look at it. It came in as a PDF. And let me see what full screen, is that what this is? Fit to width. There we go. Let's see, Natalie, are you with us? No. I don't think this has a narration. It doesn't look like it. It don't have a play button. I just have slides. Yeah.
Would you like to narrate it for us?
Yeah, I guess so. But actually, this is a really interesting subject. I can talk a little bit about it. And that is that this is what happened in Buddhist China and Buddhist India in the like 700-ish era. And that is that they were making temples and they were doing sculpture, just cutting out of the rock. And it's really kind of almost exclusively a Buddhist art form. And so that's what that means by the grottos, and the Yunyang is where it's at. And you can see it's really quite impressive. Now, there are a number of these out throughout the Buddhist world. They're old, they're world treasures. And I got to talk about this because this is one of the headlines, is that there were some of these Buddhist grottos in Afghanistan. You know, the place we were sent our troops and they stayed there 20 years. And before that, it was a haven for people like Osama bin Laden and so on, the Taliban, all you know about that. Well, one of the things that happened before that, and I don't know who exactly was responsible, but there were a bunch of radicals that actually did artillery fire practice and just destroyed some of these. And they felt kind of entitled to do that. It was one of the crimes against world heritage. And similar things happened in Iraq too, where we lost a lot of antiquities due to terrorist and extremist groups. And so what I'm thinking is, if you have any questions, I really want to kind of get to where we need to be. And so, where's my share? Let's put that back on here. So you guys at home, are you going to have this in for me? Because I do want to see the rest of them.
Did you receive?
I'm sorry.
Did you receive mine?
Well, yes and no. I got it. What did you send? About 3 or 3:30 this afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was already on my way to pick up my granddaughter and take her home from school and head out here. So I
Okay.
saw that you sent something.
Yeah.
I just had my phone. I wasn't able to open it. But you sent me something, but that's why it's not here.
Okay.
And if I can't play it, I'll let you know. So, thank you, Kaylee. When we see Reagan, I'll thank her too. You guys did a good job, and I had 2 good ones to show you what your PowerPoint narration should look like. So with that, let's call it a day. We'll spend Wednesday looking at all the rest of the class, which is like 10 people. So in that case, you guys at home, any questions? I got
Nope.
one from McKinsey, so. All right. See you Wednesday. Adios. Happy trails until we meet again.